Let's continue with our geometry preparation. So now we are being told, we are looking at question 10. They are saying in the diagram below A, B, C, D, right? So A, B, C, D. E, F are points on the circumference of the circle. So AD, so this is AD, intersects CF, which is true, at G, and CE at H, right? It also intersects CE at H, right, which is true. So we are being told that AB is parallel to CF or FC, and we're also being told that CE is equals to BD, so both these are equal, right? So the first thing that we are going to do, right, or we are being told that we need to prove that AD is parallel to FE, right? So before we even start by proving, right, if these lines are parallel, that means that this angle is going to be equals to this angle. Why? Because it's corresponding angles, right? They make an F, right? Perfect. It's corresponding angles, right? And then this means that even these ones would be equal, right? So we need to prove that AD, right? Where is AD? So this is what we need to prove. This line, right? We need to prove that this line AD is parallel to this one, right? Is parallel to this one. So in order for us to prove that, right, in order for these lines to be parallel, that corresponding angles should be equal, and the ones that are clear, easy to see, it's this one and this one, right, which will be corresponding angles, and this one and that one, right? So we have to prove that either those angles are equal in order for these lines to be equal. So we are going to start, right? So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to say your angle A is going to be equals to angle G3. Angle G3, we don't have a value, and we have our reason, which is your corresponding angles, and because your AB is parallel to FC, right? Perfect, right? So another thing now that we can notice is we are being told that this is equals to this, right? So ideally this means that these angles are going to be equals to each other. Why? Because its angles are subtended by an equal chord, right? Or if those chords are equal, that means that angles subtended by those chords will also be equal, right? So that means that your angle A is going to be equals to angle F, and our reason is going to be angles subtended. We'll just say angles subbed by an equal chord. Great. Now we already have a here. That means that your G3 is going to be equals to angle F, right? So if G3, which is this one, is equals to angle F, that means that these lines are going to be parallel. Why? Because they form corresponding angles, right? So if G3 is equals to angle F, right, it means that your line AD will indeed be parallel to line FE, right? So by doing this, you would have gotten your easy 5 marks, right? So by doing this, you would have gotten your easy 5 marks. Great. So if we knew that another way of proving this would have been by finding this angle, right? But that would have been true if we knew that G maybe is the center of the circle, because then it was going to be 90, and then we are going to prove that this is also 90 because it's a line from the center which bisects the chord. It's going to be 90, right? So an alternate method, right? An alternate method would be alternatively right? So if we assume that G is the center of the circle, right? So if we assume that G is the center of the circle, right? If G is the center of the circle, right? If G is the center of the circle, that means that angle E is going to be angle E is going to be equals to 90 degrees. Why? Because it's going to be angle on a semicircle, right? So that means that angle E is going to be equals to 90 degrees. Why? Because it's angles on semicircle, right? Great. So that is E is equals to 90, right? And then from there, right, we are going to say, because G is the center, so a line from the center, it bisects the chord, right? A line from the center, it bisects the chord. That means that your H1 and H2 are going to be equals to 90 degrees, right? So it means that your H1 is going to be equals to H2 equals to 90 degrees. And then the reason would have been line from center bisects chord, right? That would have been, let's just write needs here. Line from the center bisects the chord, and then remember what we would have wanted to prove was that E is equals to H2, and therefore we were going to say angle E is equals to H2, which is equals to 90, and therefore then we can say that your AD is indeed parallel to FE. Why? Because the corresponding angles, which is your E2 is equals to your H2 equals to 90 degrees. Right. So let's just write this in one line. Which is equals to 90 degrees. Great. So we would have proven that. So only if we assume that G is the center of the circle. Right, perfect. Let's look at another question now. Right, so now let's look at 8.2. So in the diagram, TR is a diameter